Is that where you, in England, did you do the cult movie that you were in?
Oh, Lifeforce.
Yeah.
Lifeforce, yeah.
Did you do that in England?
In England, yeah, with Tobe Hooper, the the guy that directed Poltergeist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Sure.
Yeah. I still get letters from that even now. And the other day, my wife saw my my photograph for sale on eBay. Would you believe?
That means you've arrived.
I can't see anybody. I can't see anybody buying it, but there we are. Yeah. That was it was called, when we started to do the movie, it was called Space Vampires, based on a Colin Wilson novel. And
he wrote The Outsider. Colin Wilson. He wrote many.
Oh, he's a great writer. But that was a very strange state of affairs. How I got that job. I had a call one day to go down to Elstree to see the casting director and Tobe Hooper, and we got on very well. And then I came away, and they said they like you and they want you to do a one day in it. And I thought, oh, that was all right. Then they phoned me about 3 days later to say they've decided that part needs to be played by a woman. So that they'll get something else for you in it. Right. And then maybe a week or so later they called and he wants to see you again at 6 o'clock tonight. Now I was 65 miles away and it was about 4:30. So if you get down there for 6 o'clock, you need to see him. So I dashed down there, just had my overcoat and whatever I had on, and just walked in to see him. And all he said was, "Hey, good to see you. Thanks a lot. We're going to get you in this movie." And off I went. I thought, God. And then about 4 days later, they called to say that there were 9 roles that they hadn't cast, but they all these 9 roles had the same kind of. They were in the same area, so they put all these 9 roles together, and I played this role. So I was a member of the SAS, the Special Air Service. You know?
Okay.
And these space vampires, and I was with Peter Firth in the movie. And these space vampires came into London, and it was our job to get rid of them. But you know, you forget about the movie, and then many years, and I enjoyed looking at it and everything. But many years later, people are getting it out on DVD, and it gets played at the Egyptian Theatre now and again. It's been on there 2 or 3 times since I've lived here. Right. And I went to see one of them. You know, it's amazing to see this guy with black hair.
Yeah, right.
Which used to be.
Well, how, or wait a minute, why did you come back to the colonies, to America?
To America. Don't forget. Don't forget, we were part of the colonies ourselves, the Irish.
That's right. That's right. The Irish were part of.
Well, the thing is, at my age, it was a bit of a chance. My son said to me, "Have you ever surprised yourself?" And I suppose, really, he said, "You should go about life surprising yourself." And I suppose I did when I came to live in America at the age of 50. You know,
50 years old, you came to America?
I emigrated, and I left my wife over there. She came over 18 months later. I'm Irish. It's easier to get a green card, so that's what I came over here. Yeah. And now I love LA, and I wrote my novel about LA. I wrote a novel.
You have a novel?
Yeah, I wrote a novel.
Hey, give me a copy.
I will do when what I'm doing at the moment. It's an Audible. It's an audio book. Right. At the moment, and hopefully that will let other people look at it. But the novel is about an Irishman. It's an Irish novel set in Los Angeles. Okay. And it deals a lot with the first. It's set in 1995. And it deals a lot of the attitudes and the look of the place in LA at 1995. Right. And it's about a bipolar Irish Jewish writer who comes to live in Los Angeles to make a big killing to write the great movie. But he can't really write movies. He's a great playwright. So it's the struggle and the torture of him writing this great play, which he ends up writing. It's called The Storyteller. You know, and the prologue is called The Man with the Pen. And it's the man with the pen. The prologue tells us how much he's influenced by James Joyce, because the book is called The Storyteller, but the prologue is called the Man with the Pen, and his play in the novel is called The Man with the Pen. And the Man with the Pen is James Joyce, and he writes this play about the last night of James Joyce as he's dying on the bed.
Oh, really?
And that's what the play is about. Would be a wonderful play. Yeah. If I could, but the play it doesn't exist, of course, because it's only in the novel. Right. Anyway, so I felt I tried to write scripts and things, but I'm not really a great writer of that. But I think I'm quite proud of the novel. You know, know. So
But let me ask you. I mean, James Joyce. I've attempted to read Finnegans Wake
Finnegans Wake is difficult.
And Ulysses. I mean, his language. I mean, you really have to be up to speed, do you not, to understand his language?
Well, the thing is, with Ulysses, Finnegans Wake is in another language that he kind of invented, you know, and
he invented
the kind of language which he'd like putting 2 or 3 words together, and the very last 3 words in Finnegans Wake have ... and then when you get to the end of the book, you go back to the beginning. Because that sentence leads into the first sentence of the opening of Finnegans Wake. You know, and you've ever heard Finnegans, and Finnegans Wake, by the way, has no apostrophe. It has to be plural. It's Finnegans Wake. It's all the Finnegans waking up. That's what it's supposed to be. And there was somebody that was going to put on at the Dublin Festival in 1904, which celebrates 100 years since Ulysses, since the events of Ulysses was 1904. So it's called Bloomsday, the 16th of June.
Right, the Molly Bloom soliloquy,
that's right. So they were going to have a celebration 100 years after Bloomsday, and they wanted to put on Finnegans Wake. So they wrote to the grandson, who's been described as an artistic vacuum, by the way. They wrote to the grandson and asked, could they put on Finnegans Wake? But they put an apostrophe in there, and he wrote back and said no. And the reason was because they put the apostrophe in, any excuse. But there's another one. I know a man called Michael Finnegan. That could begin again, and that's what Finnegan begins again. The whole book begins again.
Well, I mean, Ulysses, digressing, Ulysses was banned. Well,
the thing is, they were a very Catholic country, and some of, I mean, there was a play called The Playboy of the Western World, which is not digressing this time, but The Playboy of the Western World mentioned the word shift.
Shift.
S-H-I-F-T,
right.
Which is an undergarment of a woman. Whatever, an underskirt, whatever they're called. You know.
Yeah, nightgown.
That was mentioned in the Playboy of the Western World. Slip.
Yeah.
It was mentioned in the Playboy of the Western World, and there was a riot.
Really?
Yeah, because of that word. That's a terrible word to use. You know, there was a prostitute in the Plough and the Stars.
Sean O'Casey. Right?
Sean O'Casey. You're right there.
Right, you are. I know it all. You know, mate.
But anyway, there was a riot. Because the church said there's no such thing as an Irish prostitute.
Right.
You know? And there was a place called Montgomery Street, just round the corner from the Abbey Theatre, which they used to call the Monto, which was one of the most renowned red light districts in Europe. But the church never recognized. So Ulysses is full of this. And the people that banned the book probably never read it. But you see, and also Ulysses is written in lots of different writers' styles at the time. And also, some of the chapters concentrate on a colour. Some of them concentrate on a part of the body, like the stomach, the head, whatever. So it's a complicated book, but it's very funny, and it's a lot easier if you do know the dialect, the Dublin dialect. It is a lot easier. But the way I read it, I just accepted it for what it was. That it was a man wandering around Dublin. And they met up with Stephen Dedalus and all the different events that happened. Right. And there's the big Nighttown episode. I just looked upon that as a drunken stupor. You know, but people read other things into it, and indeed there are other things into it because it's based on the Odyssey.
Right.
You know, and like there's
the Odyssey by Homer. Right?
That's right. And there's a character in it with a cigar. And he is based on the one-eyed, the
Cyclops.
Yeah, he's based on that, you see. And they do little things which are not necessarily. He's not wandering around islands. Yeah. He's wandering around Dublin. He's on a fugue.
Right.
The musical term, a fugue.
Right, like a Bach fugue, right?
Yeah, that's what he's wandering around.
Yeah.
And there's also the father and son relationship, and there's the big Molly Bloom soliloquy at the end.
Right.
Which is like. 14 or 15 pages, and it's non-punctuation at all, no capital letters, no apostrophes. It just goes all the way through.